Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Frame.io Live. My name is Sean McDaniel, and yeah, we're here to talk about some cool stuff today. We're talking about LUMIX, we're talking about Camera to Cloud, we're talking about some exciting stuff. We've got some guests coming out a little bit later, but I do want to say hello to everyone in the audience. So please locate that chat box, the Q&A box, whatever we want to call it, on the left, right-hand side of your screen. Drop in where you're coming in from. What your name is, hello, and also what you're like hoping to learn today in today's session. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got a few demos to do, so we're really excited to have you all on. But again, my name's Sean. We're broadcasting from Hollywood, California, and it's a nice, sunny, beautiful day. And I got to tell you, I can't believe it's already the end of July. We're going into August now. I don't get it. Time is just a thing, and we just kind of float along with it. And I just cannot believe how quickly time is just kind of going. But here we are, end of July, and hopefully everyone's summer's going good as well. It's been a little toasty here inside of Hollywood, so it's hopefully it's nice and sunny where you're at. And we've got a few notes coming in. Glenn McDaniel from Virginia. Crazy. We have the same last name. Are we relatives? Are you a long lost relative that I'm not aware of? That is really funny. Well, great last name, and I love that you capitalized the D. A lot of folks don't do that. I am curious though. Do people add S on the end of your name? They put McDaniels. They always do that to me. Let me know if that happens to you. But love to hear where everyone else is coming from as well. Our whole team's out here in Hollywood, so yeah, it happens. I don't know why they do that. They just put an S. Like, what do you think you're doing? I don't understand. Anyway, love to hear when everyone else is coming from. Yeah, see, you get it too. I know we have kind of some folks kind of trickling in. Hello for new folks coming in. Drop in where you're at, where you're from, what you're hoping to learn today, and how shockingly quick this year is just kind of flying by. So I'm just waiting for a couple comments to drop in. I see a few more than one in here. There's a few. We've got a new system up, so it might be taking a couple clicks to get folks in here, but I'm seeing a few folks kind of hanging around. But we can actually get started and just kind of see as it kind of goes along. But again, my name is Sean, and again, welcome to Frame.io Live. This is a show where creativity meets technology. This is where we talk to guests, either as editors or producers or directors or anyone in the creative industry, and we share their process and workflows with you in this live environment. But again, I do want to make sure that we drop in any questions if there are any that come in, because we want to save a little time for Q&A at the end so that we have a nice good question, a Q&A with our guests and folks today. So I do want to go and get started though. But so for those of you that are not aware of what Camera to Cloud is, we've got to kind of take a step back and talk a little bit about what Frame.io is. And I'm assuming a lot of you folks that are in here are already kind of hip to Frame.io, but I do want to give a couple quick talking points of what is Frame.io. Now, Frame.io is basically a system or a environment where you actually could put in all of your creative hubs and centralized, or all your creative assets, and put them in one centralized hub. But not only for your assets, but also for your creative collaborators. They can all go into that space, find those creative assets, leave comments, leave annotations. They can also use it as a way to file share across your different creative departments. And it's a really great way to have kind of your seamless creative workflows in one centralized location. So that is kind of Frame.io at its bulk. But then the next question is what is Camera to Cloud? Actually, sorry, Frame.io actually will span, we'll stay on Frame.io here, will actually span across all your different devices, from your iPhone to your iPad, to the web app, obviously to the Apple TV. We've also got integrations with some of the leading NLE systems that are out there to make that seamless transition very, very easily for all your creative assets. So you can access Frame.io for virtually anywhere. But now we're jumping into kind of what is C2C or Camera to Cloud. We call it kind of both things, C2C for short. Sometimes you don't want to say Camera to Cloud. But basically, C2C in a nutshell is an ecosystem of integrations that enable workflow. Well, what exactly does that mean? Well, here's kind of a quick demo. When you have your camera, your RAW or JPEG files, we're talking about a photo workflow here, but it works for video as well. So if you have your Camera to Cloud integrated system, whether it's an internal integration or an external integration, all of your original files, whether it's JPEG or your RAW photos, You can also do your proxy files, and in some instances, you can actually do your full res media through the camera to cloud system. But those same files go through camera to cloud integration and then directly into Frame.io, making that process seamless. So what does this really solve in that process? Well, these steps are very familiar. These are all steps that we've done as creators. We've had to download our footage. We've had to back that stuff up. We had to sometimes shift those drives out. Holy moly. Then we have to download those again or transfer them somewhere else. Then we have to pull selects, and then we have to actually go into the process of retouching them. Now, retouching and selects are kind of the similar category, but the idea here is that your files can bypass all of that other stuff that holds up the process of getting your creative assets finished and getting it directly to editorial, so you actually start your quick turnarounds. Think about your sporting events, your news broadcasts, things where you actually need to get those assets out quickly and easily. And a lot of times it opens up a lot more creative doors as well. But let's take a little history lesson here. So when Camera to Cloud first launched, and I think it was around 2022, we only had one integrated partner that allowed you to send your files directly from the camera to Frame.io. Now, since then, we've had, let's say, about 19 different partners that are seeing the benefits of this amazing workflow. And one of your more unique integrations has been with camera companies that have natively put Frame.io internally as part of their camera's UI to allow a seamless flow of files to your Frame.io account. Now, the newest camera partner, LUMIX, is kicking off this feature with their new GH7 camera. And I got to tell you, that camera is packed with some new features. Now, to share in this excitement, LUMIX actually produced a case study with some of their customers about how Camera to Cloud has really scaled their company while also allowing time for creativity. Now, I want to go ahead and show everyone this case study really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and play the LUMIX case study right now.
Our company name is Wild as Heck. We partner with independent women artists and apply their artwork to 100% Australian wool hats.
My company's Matrimony Films. We do about 100 wedding films a year. We have 3 teams that go out and shoot, and then we have teams of editors that edit our content for us. Basically try to tell the story of every single couple that we come across in the most beautiful way we possibly can.
So the PPA is Professional Pickleball Association. I'm in charge of the media department here. We're just the on-site media team that captures all the media, all the players, all the action shots, everything that goes into what goes on in a tournament for PPA.
Quite simply, Cam to Cloud brings the power of Frame.io to the camera. The process of offloading footage can mean a shooter might need to leave the action to get the footage into my editorial pipeline. Cam to Cloud makes that happen in the background, so the shooter never needs to step away.
The longer a product is sitting on my shelf, the longer I'm losing money on it. When I'm running everything by myself, I really do have a limited time frame, and having to spend all my time on set for hours and hours inhibits what I can do that day. So Camera to Cloud allows me to not be on set. I can be working on other things while getting the real-time visuals of what's happening on set so that I can give feedback as we go.
The point of difference for us is we do same-day edits where they literally see the entire events of the day happen right in front of their eyes. For the last 20 years, we've been doing same-day edits, but we've been doing them in, like a very archaic way, right? Like the editor on site, load that footage, ingest it into the computer. It would take 2 to 3 hours easy.
Camera to Cloud is a game changer for us. At any given tournament, we shoot anywhere from 35 to 40,000 images, and we turn around about 1,200 images that go straight to social. On the video side, we shoot anywhere from about 2 to 2.5 terabytes, and now with Camera to Cloud, that's all seamless. It automatically populates, and we don't have that time that it takes to get a card from one court to the other.
Hiring somebody who isn't immediately local to me, just the thought of having to fly them in to manage these shoots and the added expense that would bring wasn't something that I could really do. Having the Camera to Cloud, the speed with which I can change and adjust is so wonderful. We can communicate easily, they can communicate so that they can really nail the marketing ideas that we're trying to put into place.
With this Cam to Cloud technology, we're talking about all of this is instantaneous. We're working with proxies. where we've got everything coming in and he's working on that edit within minutes of receiving the footage, and he's dropping it in and doing it anywhere in the world that he wants to be. He can be in the comfort of his own edit bay at his house, at our studio. It's incredible the difference that this software is making in our business specifically.
Panasonic.
Amazing. Now, we are lucky enough to have one of those customers actually join us today from LUMIX in that case study. Yeah, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the camera to cloud workflow, and then obviously give you kind of a look at the GH7 camera. So this actually leads us into introducing our guest for today. And today we are joined by Matthew Sutherland, who is on that case study video. He works with, or actually owns Matrimony Films. We have Sean Robinson, who's a senior social media marketing manager for LUMIX USA, and we have Miguel Amadio. I knew I was going to say that wrong, Miguel. I knew it. Amodio is the correct way to say it. But yes, these are our three guests for today, and I'm so excited to have them kind of join us and talk about the camera, the demos, and talk about camera to cloud. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up our first guest. But again, bring those questions in the Q&A. And we're going to start our discussion with Sean today. Sean, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, good to see you too, Sean. Doing great.
Love it. Now, I'm sure any LUMIX fan is aware of who you are, but can you please give the audience a little bit more context of what you do at LUMIX?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sean Robinson. I am the now senior social media marketing manager. That's a mouthful. For all of the LUMIX USA products, the imaging products. And I have a background in photography and videography. I went to school for it, very heavily leaned into the photography side. But I took that experience from school, worked photo retail, got an opportunity to work for Panasonic about a little over 9 years ago at this point. And then, now I get to basically be the person in the company. Let me rephrase that. I get to be one of the couple of people within the company that is really working on the initiative of driving direct user to company feedback. So I host our weekly live streams. I troll around through the Facebook groups, the forums, Reddit, all the places where everybody chats about these the equipment and all that kind of stuff, and just try to provide support and proper sense of community for our industry.
I love it. And I've watched your show a bit. You obviously go through a ton of, camera features and the tech part of it, but you also get a sense of the users themselves. And so I really enjoy your show. So I encourage folks to check out LUMIX Live, and check out all of the great, amazing things that they do on there. Now, I do want to ask you though, what has Camera to Cloud brought to you directly as an individual creator?
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy because for a number of years before the Camera to Cloud initiative within our company started, I used exploits that we had with our camera for being able to capture photos and videos and have them being sent to my home internal NAS, because it was kind of a rudimentary way of doing it and stuff like that. And it was a pain. It took forever, all that kind of stuff. And you kind of almost had to have a degree in how to get it set up, because it was not really what it was ever designed for. So as someone who always has a camera with me, like whether I'm riding my motorcycle, whether I'm in the truck with my wife and dog, and we're taking a weekend out kind of thing, I'm someone that always has the camera with me, but I am terrible at taking cards out of camera, putting them on my computer and doing editing. So personally for me, once I got wind that we were doing this, the Camera to Cloud integration directly into a couple of our cameras, it like massively changed everything for me, because now I'm out there. I have whichever one of the cameras I want to take, whether it's GH7 or the S5 II series. I just have it linked into my mobile hotspot on my phone, because now with, the unlimited data plans and all that kind of fun stuff, I always have that stuff being uploaded. My JPEGs are there, my raw files are there, the video clips that I capture, the proxies are up there. It's made such a huge difference, especially when it comes to like family stuff, because now my family members can actually get pictures that I take instead of forgetting about it. And then in the work side, it's been great because we use it with our own ad agencies and stuff where we're reviewing content. So it's huge. It's spectacular, and I'm beyond excited that we've got it directly integrated into the cameras now. So
Yeah, I love that feature too, because it's fun to take your DSLR out with like friends and take pictures, but you always go like, "Hey man, can I get those pictures?" And you never get them. And it's so hard to like transfer them. So just being able to just pop them up on your phone and create a quick share in Frame.io and send those out. And even if you just share the root folder of your camera to cloud files, they'll
yeah,
automatically just update. So you just go like, just check the link. It's super easy to set it up.
yeah,
And I love being able to do that. I did a trip with some friends, and it was so easy just to send them photos because I'm sick of. I'm just like you. I never put my card in the computer. I never transfer my files over. I'm terrible at it.
yeah.
So this saves a lot of that time. Now to pivot though, you did mention the integration with Frame.io. So why do you feel it was important for Lumix to kind of jump on the C2C integration train?
Yeah, so within the Lumix like ecosystem, one of our biggest messages from pretty much day one with the interchangeable lens cameras has always been that kind of idea of making things easier for creators. And we use creators as kind of the modern day shorthand of whether you're a photographer, a videographer, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of just the easy way to say it because, just like you said at the beginning, C2C versus camera to cloud, it really just kind of depends on how much time you want to spend saying things. But for us as a business, it allows us to really kind of stretch what the actual photographers and videographers out there have pain points with. Whether it's like my kind of example of like personal issues of trying to like remember to take the card out and back it up and all that kind of stuff, like what you laid out at the beginning. We saw what Frame.io and Camera to Cloud was doing in the early days, and immediately we're like, okay, this would be cool because of making it faster for productions to be able to go from capture to edit to changing things on site. And then seeing once the pandemic hit and everything kind of shut down and everyone had to move remote, it really solidified that idea of we like to bring innovation to end users to make their jobs easier. Frame.io is doing the exact same thing. And with our big push with hybrid and social media and fast delivery, it just made the most sense to have that connection there. And it's been huge with us on the 3 cameras that we have currently in the lineup that support it. So
Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the case study. Now, why do you think Lumix chose those 3 specific customers in that case study?
yeah, it's really looking at where like I mentioned, those pain points are in various different aspects of this industry, right? You have wedding and event, you've got social media content creation, and then you even have like higher end sports, athletics, things like that. We looked at what is the common challenge that all of those areas have, and it's that, well, turnaround time is exceedingly long in the traditional way of doing business. Now, if we look at, say, like sports, right? For a long time there was things like FTP transfers and stuff like that, but a lot of those required you to be hardwired into a connection. And it's using a relatively archaic way of doing that delivery to your teams that are trying to get the photo on a cover or trying to get photos into a catalog by the end of the game for the families of the games, things like that. So seeing what Frame.io was able to deploy and what we were able to get into the Lumix cameras, it just seemed like such a natural fit. When we go to the social media side, we felt that it was a hugely untapped aspect of really, again, a daily challenge that small businesses, that small content creators run into of, well, I have to get content out. I have to be able to create do my edits, get it up onto social, or I can't afford, as was mentioned in the video for Wild as Heck, is like, I can't afford to bring in editors. I can't afford to bring in a bunch of extra team on site when all I need is a couple of these images, or I need a couple of these quick video clips. And the Frame.io integration just, again, it was like a perfect fit for us, knowing that our big press with social media content creation and quick turnaround, it just felt like a perfect mix. And then I think Matthew Sutherland puts it perfect in his talk about it, is that just how much faster it makes those same day edits for weddings. Let's face it, clients across the board, doesn't matter what area they are in, tend to be a bit impatient because they're not used to the workflows that we have to deal with, or had to deal with, I think is a better way to put it. And the synergy that we've got built with this product or with the LUMIX cameras and Frame.io has just, I think, really knocked all those walls down and just made it that much more seamless for everybody.
Yeah, and they also just, a lot of clients just don't really understand it. And, we live in a world where you can snap your fingers and, a car is there to pick you up, or a package is there the next day. But they don't realize there's a whole team of people on the background that have to make these things happen. And, when you go, well, look, I had to transcode footage, they go, I don't care. I want my wedding video, or I want my client video. I've got to get this on the internet. And they don't really understand that. So, now we can just kind of deliver when we need to and save ourselves the headache and this at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I know our audience is excited to learn more about the camera. So I know you're going to be able to do a little demo for us for the GH7 specifically, and we're doing demo camera to cloud. So we're going to bring you back up in just a little bit, but thanks for having a chat with us real quick, Sean.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So I do want to pivot though. We are getting to the demo here shortly, but I do want to bring out Matthew Sutherland, who was actually featured in that case study video, because I'd love to get some firsthand conversation about his experience with Camera to Cloud. So Matthew, we're going to bring you on. Matthew, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Can't complain. It's a nice sunny day out. And it looks like where are you at right now?
I am in Detroit, Michigan. At a photo video conference here. I'm speaking all week at this beautiful photo video conference here in downtown Detroit. And it's 70 and wonderful here in Detroit.
I love it. Well, it's been quite a journey, it seems. You're on a LUMIX case study video, and now you're doing a webinar. So, I mean, before we jump in, actually, that sounds really good right now. Filet mignon, a little bit of potatoes. Anyway, can you share a little bit to your audience about what you do, and tell us more about your company?
Sure. Yeah. So I own Matrimony Films, which is a wedding film brand. And then I also have a corporate brand called Tiva Cinematics that does all corporate stuff. But our Matrimony Films, we do about 100 wedding films a year. And no doubt the most awesome product that we allow for our customers that we offer is our same day edits. It's unbelievably successful every single time we do it. It's been pretty expensive for a lot of people. So it's kind of, we do them probably 5 times a year. I've been shooting wedding films since 2001. So I'm in like year 24, 23 right now. And yeah, I would say about 7 years in, I started to do these same day edits because I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know. I like to stress out more than, I don't know, it keeps it interesting for me. And at the same time, I'm always thinking of like, what would I want if I was getting married, or if my child was getting married? What would I want? And you want to see it right away. And it's, so I'm like, well, what if I just put a few clips, filmed a few clips, and then like brought my laptop on site with me and downloaded the footage to my laptop, and then like brought it into my edit bay, and then I like let the footage transcode. And if I only do a few clips and I just put a little music to it, and then I show it on a laptop at the wedding, would that be something people would like to see? And even if like in the early days, early days, in the mid 2010-ish area, we'd have, just our laptop there, and brides and grooms would come over at some point during the reception and just watch the few clips that we shot. And it was just like tears and, oh my God, and hugs. And immediately there's just this sense of like trust that they give us, like just, oh my gosh, you guys are amazing at what you do. And when you can make your client emotional and the day of their wedding, it's just like added value. It's just magical. So I'm like, I wonder if we could do it like a 2-minute version. I wonder if we could put it up on a screen and like let it play for some people. And so we just kept trying to push the envelope of what was possible. And up until this year, we would do it, not much different than the way we did the first time, which is ingest the footage, let it transcode, and then just pray that at the end of the night, it was ready. Right.
Yeah.
And I'd always have to have an editor on site.
Right.
And that editor sometimes was in a weird back room. Like one we did in Las Vegas where we were at a resort in Las Vegas, but the editor was in the room where the flowers were being stored. So it was like 55 degrees and he had like blankets on. And I mean,
And really bad allergies,
Oh,
just
yep.
dying in there. Now you say you're old school. Did you ever do this back in the mini DV days where you had the
DV tape? Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So we'd literally transfer it minute to minute, a minute of transfer time for a minute of video. Yes, we did.
That is an insane amount of work. Now, when Frame.io came to be, were you a user before? I mean, obviously before Camera to Cloud was a thing, but were you a Frame.io user before that, or at least heard of it?
Yeah, with my corporate company, I used Frame.io for like, edits. So you'd finish an edit and I'd share it through Frame.io with, I have Sunkist as one of my my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Panasonic I work a lot with. And then, we would just like when I'd finish a project for them, put it up on Frame.io so that they could give notes on the different spots in the video. Super helpful. And then, in real time, as soon as they gave notes, I'd have them at the exact spot of the video where we needed to make changes. Yeah. So that was my only like knowledge of Frame.io, but I've been a user for, I would say 5 years, something like that.
Awesome. I love it. So it seems like you've jumped around to a lot of different kinds of workflows, and it seems like you pick up stuff pretty easily, but how was the onboarding process for Camera to Cloud? When you started making this a part of your flow, how was that onboarding process and how was your team kind of receptive to this?
I mean, really smooth. And, I would say that my main editor that does our same day edits is the guy that was in the room with the freezing cold. And he couldn't be more thrilled about this process.
Imagine.
Because what like the biggest thing to me, I mean, there's a lot of great benefits to this, but the biggest one is that I don't have to have the editor on site anymore. Like he can be in the comfort of his own work bay, like his own home, in front of his own multi-screen setup that he's comfortable with, he's familiar with. And he works faster that way. He's more comfortable. And all we're doing, wherever we are in the world shooting the wedding, as soon as it uploads Camera to Cloud into my Frame.io account, I share my project with him and he sees all the proxies populate right away and he's working. He's working on it immediately and it's awesome.
I love it. Now, obviously, same day turnarounds have, or at least providing clips has been kind of a thing you've done for a bit for your company. But since incorporating kind of Camera to Cloud in there, obviously the creative is going to scale up more because you can get footage to your editor faster. But what has this done for your business specifically? Do you feel like it's scaled it at all?
Yeah. I mean, so because we do like 3 weddings a day at times, because I'll have 3 teams of guys, there was never like anytime I would book a same day edit, I would like book out that day. Like there is no other weddings I'm gonna allow that day because I'm going to need all hands on deck. I'm going to need 3 shooters because I typically would have 2 shooters at a wedding, but on a same day edit, I want a 3rd shooter who's going to be able to run footage back and forth to the editor. And then I have to have a 4th guy. I have to have the editor on site. So I don't want to like make our, wear us too thin and like deliver any lower quality footage to a second wedding that's just booking a normal non-same day edit. So I kind of just would block out that day. And now I'm able to, we literally could book 3 same-day edits all in the same day at 3 different locations and not have to expand our team. We're just going to expand the ability to make money. So it has allowed us in that sense to scale up. And it's just, so the other way that it's benefiting us is it costs me a lot less to execute a same day edit. So whereas let's just say I would charge $1,000 to do a same day edit in the past, hiring 2 extra people for that, and then executing it, there is benefit to doing a same day edit, and that now you have a product that's finished that the client gets, and then you have 150 people at a wedding that get to see your same day edit happen in front of their very eyes. There's no better advertising than that. And so we get all of that benefit, but at the same time, we could be doing it in 3 different locations. And then my costs are quite a bit lower because I only have to have 2 guys at the wedding, and I only have 1 editor on site that can be editing 3 edits all at the same time. And it's just allowed me, so I can either charge the same, I can charge more, or I could just lower my costs. So it's multiple benefits on multiple layers.
So I do have a question though. And it prompted me to think of this because somebody threw it in the chat, but and we'll elaborate more on what the camera does. But how do you solve for data and internet while you're on location? Sometimes depending on the wedding or event you're at, there's not always Wi-Fi or internet. So what solutions did you have on that? Because I know that's a bottleneck for a lot of folks.
Oh my gosh, and it's absolutely like the scariest part, right? So all full transparency, it's always scary. We're talking about proxy files that are uploading now that are like, and Sean Robinson would be a much better one to answer this, but I believe we're looking at 9 megabits per second, something like that. So it's not, they're really, they transfer really well over even my hotspot on my phone. Mm-hmm. So I typically will go to the site if we're doing a same day edit. I will check out, how's my cell service? How's the internet? Is there an option to plug in a little bit of a router with, to an Ethernet? Could I plug in my computer to the Ethernet? Anytime I can hardwire an Ethernet connection to give me a Wi-Fi solution, I'm going to be way better off. The other really good option is a cell bonding solution where you can have multiple cell signals that will, all be transmitting, and they're constantly looking for the strongest cell signal. So the cell bonding is a really good solution. But if I'm honest, I've been getting really good results just on my hotspot. I have an AT&T phone that, iPhone AT&T connection with a personal hotspot. I just connect my camera, my LUMIX. I actually use the S5 Mark II to shoot weddings. And it will do this camera to cloud over, and it uploads my proxies right to my Frame.io account and through my cell hotspot. Now, one of the really unique things that I really enjoy about Camera Cloud is that if you are running on, I don't want to say spotty internet, but like if you're shooting, if you got Camera Cloud enabled on your camera and you're taking photos or you're doing video, they'll actually queue up in camera until you get internet back, and they'll just kind of continue where it left off. Now, are there any instances where that's kind of saved you in the past on any shoots you've been on? I actually haven't had a problem. Like, I know basically as soon as when I'm rolling, I'm shooting a dress shot. And just to give people a little bit of insight, when I do a same day edit, I've basically edited that whole video before the wedding day. So I've got a little 2-minute video where I've got the dress clip, I've got the shoot clip, and they're all shots from like other weddings that we've done in the past. Mm-hmm. And hopefully shots like establishing shots from the venue that we've already shot that are already like loaded in. But point being that as soon as I shoot that dress shot, I hit cut, it uploads the proxy immediately for me, and it goes right to the editor. The editor on the other side downloads the clip, little proxy. They're not large files, drops it into the edit bay, starts working on it. So I haven't really had problems, but yes, I do know that it will keep it in the queue if you're not getting service. And then as soon as it finds service, it'll start uploading. I know it does that. I haven't had that problem yet.
Well, that's good to know. We
Yeah.
definitely don't want that to be an issue in general. We want internet to be available. Now, I have one last question for you, then we're going to jump over to the demo.
Sure.
So for people in the audience that maybe are new to C2C or haven't really used it before, what would you want to tell them to encourage them to use this workflow if you haven't done it enough already? What were maybe some quick bullet points of like why you need to do this?
I mean, when you're like, I was, I've been in the business for 24, 25 years, right? So I want to be at the forefront. Like as soon as aerial was a thing, I got the first drone. Like as soon as like new technology comes out, 4K comes out, I talked to Panasonic immediately. Give me that GH4. I want the first 4K. This is the next thing for me. This is, Frame.io being able to have my proxies load up, my editor work. Just try it. So that would be my biggest advice, is just jump in and be on the ground floor and be a beta user, like help Frame.io help you, like the more we can give you guys feedback to Frame.io on how it's working and where the holes are, the better we're all going to be as an industry. So I would say just start. The other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned is like with my corporate videos, this has been so helpful in that I do like shoots for Sunkist and shoots for there's a concept coming out, a pickleball concept coming out in LA that I've been doing, where we can't have all the producers or all the investors on site, but I can give them access to my Frame.io account. They can be a user, and when we're shooting that, like I did a Sunkist shot where we were shooting their grove, and I needed feedback from them immediately on, is this the shot you're looking for? Is this what you were thinking about? Is this the part of your facility we want to show? Do we not want to show? And I can send it to them. They can go, oh, no. I need you to like, there's some like branding at Sunkist is a very big deal. They need to show certain things and not show others. So I could get immediate feedback from producers or a director or an investor who's off site. They can immediately tell me that I'm going the right way or that I need to change something. So these are use cases that hopefully can help you guys out there. That it's not, same day edits it's a phenomenal solution for same day edits, but also for corporate jobs to get immediate feedback from anybody who's a potential client who is going to have an opinion. As we all know in this business, like the worst part is like, that's not it. You need to go reshoot that. And now it's a whole another day. Right.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, thank you so much. I know we chatted a little longer than I think we planned, but your insight was so helpful, and it's just great chatting with you.
Yeah, you too, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I do want to keep you for Q&A, so we'll bring you back on shortly, but we'll put you on the sidelines for now. But I've been teasing it long enough. It's probably time for us to do a quick demo of Camera Cloud, but it makes me want to bring out Sean Robinson again, but also let's bring out Miguel and say hello. Come on out, y'all. I got to get better at my cues for that. So we're going into the demo. Sean, Miguel, thank you for joining us so much. Miguel, I know we spoke to you earlier, Sean, but Miguel, I want to say hello, and I'd love to just have the audience kind of tell you a little bit more about what you do and what you do in this crazy industry that we're all in.
Editor by trade, picture editor. I work as a photographic environment specialist for company Plate Pros. We do 360-degree environments for film and television, but I'm also a photographer, and I've been using LUMIX since the DVX days. Panasonic, I should say. But I've been using Panasonic and their line of cameras since college. So very familiar with their stuff, and so when we were introduced to Camera to Cloud, it really is a game changer, especially for my editorial workflow. So very excited to be here and very excited to be demoing with you guys today.
I love it, dude. DVX 100, my first DVX 100A specifically. There was an A and B thing back in the day. I don't know if you recall that.
I had the A. Mini
Yeah.
DV, and I would shoot on mini DV because my P2P card was, I think it was P2P, right?
That was
or
the
P2.
HVX.
That was the
HVX,
the
right?
P2. That was the HVX. That was the next, when the HVX came out. That was like the big upgrade because it was the first camera that I had with a digital 720p. It was incredible. And then it was like, oh, 24 frames. Where else are you going to find this? You know, when you're a young filmmaker.
Those P2 cards were bulletproof. Like you could drop them in water and they'll be fine. Yeah.
It still works.
Anyway, I don't want to take up too much more time, but I know you two have kind of a demo, so I'm going to get on the sidelines, but I'm going to let you guys kind of take the floor. But let's see Camera to Cloud with the new GH7.
Yeah. So, thank you, Sean. What's like super cool with this, as we mentioned, is that like, so Camera to Cloud being built directly into the camera, and I've got my GH7 feeding out into my switcher here, but it's so simple to work with this on our cameras. Literally, you go right into the menu. If you're familiar with the LUMIX menu system, it's pretty much the same across the board, whether you're on S5 series or GH series these days. We have a new menu option, Frame.io. Go right into it here. And I've already done a pre-step here because I've already connected it to my home internet because I don't want everyone to, kind of have my internet password or any of that stuff. So I've already done that. We're going to skip that part. But for right here, literally just going to go Frame.io connection. We're going to go to set, which is going to enable the pairing mode, turn pairing mode on. And then now this is where, Miguel, you would come in with the project that we want to connect to.
Sure.
Just like for some cool clarity here too, we are in very different states. I'm in Austin, Texas, and Miguel, you're out in California, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So all we have to do here right now, my camera's got a code on it that's saying, hey, this is the identifier. This is the camera that we want to connect. And when we look at Miguel's screen there, we see that he's got the project ready to go. It's the test project we're using here. And it says literally device ready to connect from the C2C connections panel. And for Miguel, we're going to have you punch in 591794. And once that's in, it already recognizes my camera. It's got it into the project. You can hit authorize. And what's so cool about this is that on my camera, in a second, it's already registered. It's now fed to my camera and said, hey, this is the project that you're connected to. You're able to click finish now, and we're all set, ready to go. You get a little green indicator that says, hey, this camera is online and active and ready to start sending stuff to you. But then on the back of my camera, it gives me that confirmation as well. So I know that I'm connected to the right project. I'm connected to the right user. I just hit the OK button. It gives me one more confirmation. It says, hey, this is where you're going to be uploading all your stuff to. And then from here, I can go into my upload setup, be able to come in and say, one, I want auto upload turned on because I want this to be, as I'm taking photos and videos, I want them being sent up. I can then go into file format, be able to say, hey, I want my proxy video files. I want my JPEGs up. I want my RAW files up. For this demo, we're not going to really use RAW files. But we've got this. I push my display set button. That's now set and programmed. And what really kind of makes this the huge fix with the GH7 is that when I go in with my video recording, I go up into my actual, like what modes I'm going to be recording in here. We'll see that I'm doing a 4K 30p all intra option here. But I can go to proxy record settings. I can turn my proxies on. And I have three choices. So I can select high, medium, and low. So low megabit at 720p, which will be an 8-bit file if you've got maybe more challenging network scenarios in the environment you're in. We've got a more moderate 6 megabit per second, which will be a 420 10-bit. And then we've got the high bit rate option if you've got a really strong, robust network connection. I'm going to use the medium one here. for this demo. And now that that set and proxy recording is on, I get an indicator on the camera that says, hey, you've got proxy. I also get, if I turn my additional camera off here, up in the top here, you also see that I get a little Wi-Fi indicator that says, hey, I'm connected. And I can just start recording, which we've got a recording going now. You get the indicators on screen with the LUMIX cameras. So we've got a quick little clip. Once I click the stop button on this recording, I now get an indicator that's telling me, hey, Frame.io, it's sending up, and it's already uploaded now. So if we look at Miguel's screen, we see that now under the media, you're going to get a couple pop-ups. You get a new media files added. When we go into media, you'll see cloud devices, which is where it's going to file structure, add in this camera. When we double click into there, it's then going to separate it out by date. We go further into that menu, it's going to separate it out into the video file. And then it'll also catalog it by the serial number of the camera. Or if I wanted to get really clever, you can rename that camera to say like, hey, if I've got like 5 or 6 different cameras that I'm running on this project, I want to know whose camera that was. You can rename that in the back end of the Frame.io setup. Now, while we've been talking, I just snapped off a couple photographs here at the same time on my GH7, showing here that if we go back into the cloud or into the date subfolder on the top there under the cloud device, we'll see now we've got 2 folders. We've got the stills file, we've got the video file, and it just keeps it super simple and clean and straightforward. And as we've been talking about that, like I said, it's already up there and you get the notifications with it. And all I'm doing as a creator out in the field is I'm just worrying about capturing the content that I need to capture. I don't have to worry about anything else. Did this set up right? Did I load it to the right platform? As long as I get that icon on the screen, I'm good to go. Yeah, and it's super straightforward. On the camera itself, like we said, one of the cool things that you do also have is that, like I said, those video files are 10-bit. So Miguel, on your side, like with those 1080p 10-bit files, I mean, I could be capturing logs, sending you the log footage, and you can be getting be set ready to do your edits right away. I think it's a pretty solid, straightforward system for y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's actually, especially with just how every year the technology continues to advance faster and faster. I think just this level of integration and this level of convenience, because like Matthew was saying, a lot of times, or maybe Sean, you were saying as well, but like the idea that clients don't want to wait, and the ability to just start editing photos or video right away, I think is absolutely a game changer. The integration into the camera body, I think that's the biggest convenience as well, is that it's like right at your fingertips. And I think like Matthew was saying, just being able to use a hotspot on your phone and being able to switch it to 8-bit, low bit mode in the camera, super convenient and very helpful, I find.
Yeah.
And I'm very new to all this workflow, but it's super easy, but like, yeah, it's just really nice how organized everything is.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it nice, is that if you're not a user into this kind of workflow, it's easy to pick it up. We try to make the environments very user friendly. We try to keep the UI very simple, and just get your, like, we don't want to have you take forever setting it up or worrying about trying to troubleshoot. I mean, you could troubleshoot on the fly. And like what Sean and Miguel were demonstrating, that you don't even have to be in the same city or town or even country to make these connections. If you're both on the internet, you're both able to make this connected and get those files where they need to be. But thank you both so much for that demo. I do want to take a few moments and remind our audience that we do have some time slotted away for Q&A, but I did want to make sure we left a little time for Sean to talk a little bit about the GH7 itself, because there's some great new features, because this is one of your guys' newest cameras that just got released. So Sean, I want to give you a few minutes to talk about the GH7, but remember folks, throw those questions in because we'll have a little bit of time at the end to answer a couple of those for you. But Sean, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, the GH7, it is the newest camera in the lineup for us. It's a mirrorless interchangeable lens camera, PDAF autofocus. Really, like, kind of the coolest stuff with this is that, yeah, the Frame.io direct compatibility is a huge part of workflow and being able to get it from camera to delivery. But on top of that, this camera really did come out of the gate swinging for basically any level of content creator, video, content creation, cinematography, photography, whatever it is. It's 25 megapixel 4/3 sensor, so it's our crop censored line of cameras. It's based on the micro 4/3 lens mount. You have a robust suite of video assist tools within the LUMIX line. This is something that we do across the board with many of the cameras. So you have things like waveform, vector scope, dual zebras. You have our luminance spot meter built into this camera. You also have the ability to capture in what we love in these series, both on the full frame and this, in what's called open gate video recording. I touched on this before about how social media content delivery and the way people consume content these days has drastically changed, whether we like it or not. And I come from a very traditional side of the industry, but people love having their recordings and viewing content vertically on their phones. It's not every day that people are turning their phone horizontally to consume content. So the GH7 is bringing open gate 5.8K video recording in a 4:3 aspect ratio. So now, on top of being able to deliver this super fast to your editors and off-site, I can capture a clip once. I capture it in open gate. I have the ability to then put frame guides on the camera, know where my vertical cut's going to be, know where my horizontal cut's going to be. If I need to deliver it later for a client, if the client says, like, hey, we really loved that YouTube or that the TV cut that you gave us, but we really need some social assets now, and we're big on TikTok and Instagram stories and reels and all that stuff. The GH7 gives you access to all those tools. If you're in a much higher level of content generation, so if you're, maybe much more in the cinema side of it, the camera records ProRes RAW internally, right to CF Express cards or to an external SSD that you can attach to it. You also have ProRes video recording internally, which you can use for the Frame.io and proxy generation to be sent up to the camera to cloud. You also have probably the coolest thing with the GH7 is that we have a partnership, we have a new color profile in the GH7 that is a license from ARRI, which is the ARRI Log C3 color profile in the GH7 that lets you now capture footage, not on an ARRI, but also be able to do it on a GH7 as, say, a B cam, a crash cam, a supplemental behind the scenes cam, whatever it is that you need to use it for. I can capture in the ARRI Log C3 workflow so that my editor, if that's what they're comfortable with, or if it's mixing with an ARRI Alexa, say Mini LF, I can have that footage in the same color process, in the same workflow. And the coolest thing is that it's actually ARRI Log C3. It's not some, color space transform or something like that. This is designed by ARRI for this camera. So you have a $199 US option to add that to this this amazingly packed camera. Aside from that, like a lot of the cameras these days from Lumix, you have things like 4K 120, you have 1080 240, you have 300 frames per second, slow motion. You have a fully weather resistant body. It's actively actively cooled. So that means that in the 100-degree plus heat that we have down here in Austin, I can go out confidently, record with it. It's not going to stop on me. I can set this thing up for hours and hours on end and just let it record. So as long as I can feed it power and I can feed it media for storage, it just goes and goes and goes. The last thing about the GH7 is this new XLR adapter, which you can see on some of the images there. We have an XLR2, which is an audio interface adapter that gives you access to dual XLR inputs, as well as a 3.5 millimeter input onto the device itself. But its biggest thing for this world is that it is supporting 32-bit float audio directly into the video footage that you're capturing. So if you've never worked with 32-bit float audio before, it can be a game changer for those in an environment where maybe you don't have the best control over your audio levels, just because of how flexible it is. And it's the first, to my knowledge, interchangeable lens camera that actually supports it. And it's just a simple little adapter that connects right on top, goes right into the camera, feeds that audio signal right in, and yeah, gives you a super compact kit to be able to get out there and create content with for wherever you want to create it. How was that?
No, that was great. Yeah, we'll kill it there. That's perfect. I was so actually excited to actually see the GH7 in person at Cinegear when I think you guys actually made the announcement of it coming out. So I can't wait to test drive it soon. I'm very excited about the RE color profile options that are available on that camera. So super excited, and thank you so much for giving myself, but also the audience, a quick look at the GH7. Now, I know I've been taunting the Q&A. I know we've got a couple questions in the queue, some specifically on the camera, but some on Frame.io. But I do want to open the floor up and go ahead and start our Q&A. All right, we got everyone up here. Let's take a look. I think one you just answered, Sean. That was about the 32-bit float audio, but I want to make sure that we are acknowledging this user and that it's there. But yes, I believe that is available with the new adapter that's on the LUMIX camera. Correct, Sean?
Yep. Yeah. And it is only on the GH7. So 32-bit float will only work with the GH7 as of now. So
perfect. All right. Thank you for your question, Noreen. Thank you. All right. Let's jump over to James. This is actually a really good question. What other LUMIX cameras are now or will soon be compatible with Frame.io? Specifically, I have S5 cameras and I'm a Frame.io user. Also wondering about Arilog C compatibility.
Complex question, James. As of today, the cameras that support Frame.io direct camera to cloud integration is the GH7, the S5 Mark II, and S5 Mark II X. Those are the existing cameras. I don't have any information I can share about future products or anything like that. It's, the common line that I say probably a million times on my stream as well. And as far as the Arilog C3 compatibility goes, there are actually two cameras from the LUMIX lineup that will support it through the paid unlock. That is the GH7, as well as the previous generation, the GH6. Both will have it.
Ah, that's news to me too. That's good.
Yeah.
GH6. All right.
See, now we're all learning. There was another question from Dude Guy, and this is specifically about the camera. Does it have Wi-Fi or cell phone signal? We may have answered this already, but just a quick blurb on internet. I know we talked a little bit too, Matthew, about internet connection availability, but just want to make sure we're acknowledging Dude Guy's comment.
Yeah, I know Sean knows this as good as anyone on the planet, but yeah, you basically use your LUMIX Tether app on your cell phone. The camera connects Wi-Fi right to your phone, and everything you shoot goes through your phone, right, Sean?
Yeah, it's straightforward. Just a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection on the GH7, even on the S5 Mark II and the Mark II X, so the cameras that support it. It has the ability to fall back to 2.4 if for some reason either thermals get too high or you happen to not have a 5 gigahertz connection. You want to prioritize the 5 gigahertz connection because that's usually less congestion, faster throughput. That's where you're going to get your best performance. But yeah, it's built right into the camera. Literally just connect into a Wi-Fi hotspot like you would connect your phone to another hotspot. Same thing.
One thing that I wanted to touch on that was mentioned earlier is that like the 6 megabit per second option, the medium option that you talked about, it has been great as far as quality. Like when we're using that almost always just so that we don't get bottlenecked or worried about connectivity, but exporting that, even showing it on a big screen, same day edit, projector and screen, it's still never had a single complaint from a single person. It looks great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is it for the questions. We didn't have a crazy Q&A, but we definitely had an engaged audience. So they seem to love the demos, and they really enjoyed the fast, quick turnarounds. So Matthew, thank you for your insight. And then also Sean and Miguel, thank you so much for your demo. And then Sean, also for going over the GH7. I know that's not always easy. I know you do it 100 times a day, but definitely check out LUMIX live events that they put on. It's a really, really great show. He does it every week. I don't know how he does it, but kudos to you, sir. But thank you all so much for coming along and sharing all of your wonderful insight with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, anytime. Now, make sure to check your emails, folks, for new users that are offering or users that have signed up or at least going to sign up for Frame.io. We're offering a 30-day trial code. So check out your emails just for this session today, though, just letting you know. Now, to learn more about Frame.io, head to the Frame.io live page, frame.io/live, and sign up for ongoing sessions. And we have regular tutorial courses that talk about how Frame.io works. So you can learn more about how to incorporate this in your workflow. So make sure you check back because we update our schedule regularly. Now, make sure you also follow us on Instagram. That's frame_io, where you get a lot of information and new updates and releases. We also put up some cool information that points to our blog, which is blog.frame.io. There's a lot of really great industry information in there, but also learn more about Frame.io itself. So a lot of really great industry knowledge inside of our blog. But once again, thank you all for joining us today on Frame.io Live. We love doing these shows and we love providing this information and insight for you. So please have a great day, everyone. Stay cool, stay warm, stay whatever you want to be. I love it. And have a great day, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.